Hello dear friends, welcome to ZENPod once again. In the studios today I have Aayushi KC, founder and CEO of Khaalisisi Management Pvt, a waste management platform that currently connects 13,000 waste workers to waste sellers. Aayushi's goal is not just to create a company but a waste management industry in Nepal. Aayushi has been honored with the Forbes 30 Under 30 award and is an Asia 21 Young Leader award as well. Khalisisi has been recognized by Google as the Google Business Story in 2017. Khalisisi is a social enterprise disrupting the recycling industry in Nepal through connecting waste entrepreneurs with the public on an innovative digital platform. Khalisisi works to digitally empower the informal waste workers to increase the diversion of recyclable materials away from landfills. Aayushi works to raise public awareness of recycling in Nepal and ultimately hopes to create a waste management industry in the country. The 200 plus waste entrepreneurs, as she calls them, involved with Khalisisi have been able to earn 35% more income and have also found a respectable space for themselves in the industry. Aayushi is looking to change the world by working towards a zero waste goal in Nepal. The former USAID worker turned social entrepreneur founded Khalisisi to solve the waste management problem. She is also active in trying to change the public opinion when it comes to the importance of recycling and the waste collectives who facilitate it. Please join me in welcoming Aayushi, a social entrepreneur from Nepal who turns trash into cash. Among one of the titles she carries, and people have very lovingly bestowed on her, is the Trash Queen and an angel for the waste workers. And we'll talk about how she got there and what all she's done to get to where she is. Join me in welcoming Aayushi to the studios. Aayushi, please welcome to ZENPod.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We will start with my trademark question of, in your scheme of things, which is very different from the people I've spoken to so far, how do you view spirituality?
That's a deep question to start off with. For me, spirituality, I think just as a concept is about being grateful and not taking things for granted. And I try to, in a way, replicate that in everything that I do, in everything that in every opportunity that I'm provided with. So just being grateful and working hard and making sure that what you've been granted with is not wasted is, I think, just my way of doing things, or at least I try to.
Awesome, very nice. I want to take the next few minutes, Aayushi, and help us walk you through your evolution, where you are today to where you started.
I don't feel like I am so old to actually retrospect about it, but no. To be very honest, my father, he didn't come from an illustrious line of family. He was the youngest of the 6 children growing up with a single mother. So his sister made a lot of sacrifices to raise the family. So obviously seeing that, he developed a keen urge to provide for his family too. So growing up, he made sure, that we were provided with the best of everything. And in my little head, that was what I thought everyone in the world was like. That you have a family, you get an education, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, and that's it. But as I grew up, I started listening to a lot more stories of my family's past and how their individual choices and sacrifices made us who we are today. So to be honest, I get that inspiration from them. How a sister's love for her brothers changed the entire family's fate. How my parents' love and hard work secured our lives. So this is just, I think now the person I am today is just me trying to be that somebody for someone, not just for my family, but for maybe a larger society where, hopefully for a larger audience to leave some dent that people later in the future can make a bigger creator out of.
Beautiful. It's very nicely summed up, and a lot of gratitude in there. It's really good to know that. Let's talk about your baby Khalisisi. Obviously, must have not been an easy journey at all. So would you mind sharing your story with the listeners, please?
I was always looking to do things differently. I don't know, maybe just an OCD, but I just look at things and try to see the challenges it will have in the future. And that for me was in the waste sector. You couldn't look away even if you wanted to, with the piles of garbage lying around town and the waste workers rummaging through them. And I thought then maybe doing at least them doing that, going through the rubbish is at least saving some of the materials from being dumped. So that is where I saw the challenge and the solution, actually. The problem that we were wasting away a lot of our resources to the unmanaged landfills, and the solution to use this informal network of waste workers to recover these resources or waste. So that was the birth maybe of the idea for Khalisisi.
So before you started, people must have pulled you down and told you this won't work and all of that. So do you remember any such instance that told you, this is not going to work, or that made you run back into the house and say, I'm not going to do this? Obviously, it must have not been easy, right? So
yes, actually, many, but the one that I always go back to is the first meeting that I had with my first waste worker.
Okay.
Within a matter of seconds, he just laughed at my idea, and he said, "This is never going to work. You are a madam. There are no sirs around." And then I had actually, he was walking by my house, and I just asked him, "Why don't you come over? I have some waste in my house. I want you to collect." He just came, and then I started talking about the idea, about our vision, and so passionately delivering my speech to him, and then to which he laughed, and he's like, "But you don't even have an office. You're a madam, you're not a sir. And this is never going to work. People are never going to call us or invite us to their homes to actually get rid of their trash." But after a month, so down went my confidence, from the business plan that I had and to what I actually faced. So that was my first experience. But after a month of, I would say, prototyping, he was able to earn 8,000 Nepali rupees more, which is a big sum for a person in that work category, and in general as well. So that was validation enough for him that, okay, this can go somewhere, at least this has potential. So he comes up to my house and he's like, okay, he wasn't thank you and filled with gratitude, no thank you speeches as such, but what he said really stuck with me, that, okay, Didi, sister, this time I was able to earn a little more, so I'm going home, and this time I'm going to buy all my 7 kids something as a gift. Wow. And he smiled, and then he didn't. He came back a week later. So, and then he said, "So where next?" So that was validation enough for me that, okay, this platform does have value for those who I want to create value for, and if only we could take it to scale this to further thousands and millions of people like him out there, maybe millions of other Ram Sagars, then this could really be something. So that, I think, was where I really gained the confidence and momentum.
Brilliant. So from being from being inspired by your dad to being a teenager, obviously going the normal education route that a middle class family does. What was the time? And you're looking at all of this waste, and in developing countries, a lot of us get kind of either, for want of a better word, we get sensitized towards the wrong things around us, and it doesn't bother us after some time. And so what was the tipping point where Aayushi said, have to do something about this? Was there a moment, or was there a circumstance? Was there a situation?
So, to sound, at the risk of sounding boring, there wasn't one moment that defined Khalisisi's journey, or a tipping point. It was a series of tipping points, maybe. Like you said, we get so desensitized about a problem such as waste, and it's not something that covers the headlines of the leading newspapers and news channels. So people didn't really focus much on that. But there was this one incident where I visited a local landfill, and it was from miles away that we couldn't even, we couldn't even stand breathing the air around. It was so filthy. And then we go there and then we see the state of trash, of stuff that we used, of our resources, just being dumped there, and people working in that, in that pile of garbage. So that to me it just didn't make sense. I just couldn't, my brain just couldn't do the maths. So I was like, there has to be a solution. People cannot be living like this. And even if people think that it's okay to be living like this, then that's wrong. So there's some sort of intervention that is required. At that moment, I didn't know what, but I thought, no, this is the sector that I would want to work in. And if there's anything, any little, change that even regardless of how little it is, if I can do that, then I think this is where it is required, the waste sector. So those were the series of visits that I made to such collection centers and landfills, and I thought, yeah, this is a growing problem. This is not going to end just in my time, but it's only going to add up.
You're very young, Aayushi. You have achieved so much. You've been, I would say, globally recognized. When you did receive the phenomenal Forbes 30 Under 30 award, first of all, I want to know, I'm curious to know, actually, before I get to that, for the listeners, can you tell us what does Khalisisi mean?
Okay, so Khalisisi.com is a modern .com twist to a 5-decade-old waste industry. So the name Khalisisi comes from, in Nepal, you hear Khalisisi Purano Kagaz Phalam Botal, which literally translates to empty bottle, old paper, bottles of whiskey or liquor. So there is actually a group of men that go around your city every single day, from morning 6 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. every single day, screaming their lungs out to actually buy waste from you, not just collect, but buy waste from you. They've been doing this for more than 50 years now. And so Khalisisi.com is that modern .com twist to this 50-year-old industry of men buying waste. And we actually, the philosophy started with them because, if it hadn't been for this group of men who are actually recycling, and recycling starts with them. It starts with them. Whenever we talk of recycling, we tend to think on a bigger scale of, the bigger recycling plants or of creating energy out of waste. But that is just a solution for the value chain problem at the end of the value chain. But recycling actually starts with this group of waste collectors, waste entrepreneurs, actually. So at Khalisisi, we're a digital platform that connects such waste entrepreneurs with whoever has waste, be it an individual household or offices or embassies that are, that have high security protocol that doesn't even allow such traditional men to get into their space. But now through our platform, because they are, in the system and they're well validated for, so we're making sure that they have a wider access of waste sellers, and even the waste sellers have an access to actually recycle their waste and get paid.
Awesome. That's actually, you're right. It's a very different e-commerce or a commerce in motion. And I'm sure if 10 years back somebody had told you about it, you would not have believed it while you were in college, and you would have said it won't work.
I wouldn't even have dared to talk with one of them because, we're a society where we're raised up, we're told not to go anywhere near those men because they're going to put you in their stack and they're going to kidnap you, right? So they're very stereotyped against.
Absolutely, such a stereotype, isn't it? We all fall prey to it. Okay, awesome. Back to your glory, so the Forbes 30 Under 30. I want to know, and I'm so excited about this, although I haven't received it, but I still feel so much a part of, acknowledgement of somebody who's done good work. So how did you get to know of this award, number one? And number two, when the first call or the mail or message, I have no idea how you got it. What was your feeling, Aayushi?
So, I don't know how to humbly put it.
Don't be humble, just put it.
No, but I wasn't. I still am not someone who, tries to go after, validation that's beyond my work. And
Yeah.
Forbes was something that was personal on many levels. But
Yeah.
so I actually, honestly, I never applied for it. So
Oh,
some good soul from somewhere on this planet actually nominated my name, and then I get an email from Forbes saying that I was nominated for the award, and they'd want to talk to me more about it before they selected me for further rounds. So then I said, "Wow, this is again an opportunity that I didn't even ask for. That I didn't even think of." So I just followed, and then we started talking, and then after sharing about our work, about our journey, they thought that maybe this platform does have some sort of potential, and they were generous enough to grant me that title. But I remember around that time, what I felt was I was obviously very excited. I got the email at around 5 in the morning. It just woke me up, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I remember around that time, we had only just started, and we were getting a lot of mixed reaction that this will never work, or this is a trash of an idea. But what really bothered me was not getting any reaction at all. I could handle the negative reaction,
yeah,
but
yeah.
people not being bothered about the platform was more troubling for me, where people would just plain ignore the idea, and they're like, another startup, whatever. So once Forbes happened, I think we got that kind of attention because it came from a very well verified source. So that again for us was for me, I take it as an opportunity to get to garner great stories from the media, and also some garner some sort of this support from the community, that
Right.
they all felt that it wasn't just Aayushi who won the title. It was the entire community.
Oh,
So
nice.
that for me was to be able to resonate with the rest of the community in Nepal, at least, was that was something amazing for me.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, must have been a top of the world feeling, right? And you are close to Kanchenjunga and the Himalayas, so it's awesome.
Goodness,
This is fantastic. So congratulations once again.
thank you.
We all, when we study or we do our MBA, we were told, or we are told, set smart goals. And somebody like a girl like you comes along and sets an audacious goal of zero waste in Nepal. How did you even come up with something like this?
I think that you mentioned just the word audacious. I feel that is what was required, because we were taking our problems way too lightly. We were thinking that, oh, yeah, it's another waste problem, and maybe some sort of intervention from an existing NGO or from the government is, this is something that can never be solved. It's a global problem. You can't really do anything about it. So actually setting an audacious goal was what we did intentionally. First, to sort of grab everyone's attention about how big of a problem this is, and another to grab everyone's support on how we can actually tackle this issue. So zero waste is, I think, more than a goal. It would be a movement. So the idea was to actually create a movement through this goal. So for me, Khalisisi has always been a movement more than just a company, and that's what I think the rest of Nepal or the community believes too. So they're in this, so that we are all of us are in this together.
The next question is a little bit of a question for all those out there who are so besotted with titles, and I like what you said about not seeking validation beyond yourself and your work, but you people refer to you very fondly as the trash queen, and you've done so much good work in Nepal. So how did you react when somebody did call you that for the first time?
Well, no, I have to give it up to the media for being very creative around it. But I think just the fact that it really stuck was again, amazing for me because that at least helped people to resonate with the idea at some level. If getting that name, getting that title, or people just even if they were laughing about it, at least the point was to get the idea across and get people to start talking on about or discussing about or at least thinking about waste and waste management and what they can do at their level. So just being quirky and getting out there as a trash queen, I think has worked out. And the first time I actually it really sunk in was when my husband on my birthday cake, he it was written trash queen. So that it actually sunk in. And but yeah, I guess that day we ate and had the cake. You eat and have the cake. Maybe that was
you had to absolutely
yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, the media does. That's good. You are I call you, I don't call you a social entrepreneur, I call you an impact leader for and you do a lot of recycling, more than just verbal. It's actually on the ground. It's the lowest it can get on the value chain, which is really the waste. And you speak about recycling, zero waste. These are, apart from being goals or movement, these are very large initiatives. Does that, Aayushi, put a lot of responsibility on you, number one? And number two, do you feel weighed down by it at times?
Well, honestly, yes and yes to both of your questions, that it is a very large responsibility. But again, like I said earlier, someone had to do it. Correct. Because the problem was only getting bigger. And if we weren't bold about it, then it wouldn't have garnered the attention that it did. If we just said, okay, here's another company where, trying to just take your waste and do something about it, that was not a problem that was well communicated. So for us to be bold was the only way out. So whether or not I liked it, I had to do it. I saw it as no other option. So doing that in so many ways, I didn't have doubt in my mind that, okay, maybe we should not go about with this, because I saw it as the only option. So yes, I took that as a responsibility with my team. And about being weighed down, sometimes, you set an audacious goal, you are expected a lot out of it in return. Right. And sometimes you feel like it can get too much, especially when you're a startup and you just started, and there's the number one thing an entrepreneur needs to do is focus on a certain problem. But when people start to expect you to do a lot of different things at the same time, that is when you kind of drift away from the very idea of why you actually started. So that happened to me in the beginning days, when I tried to be too many different things, try to do too many different things. So we did take a back seat then, and then we thought, okay, this has got to stop. We cannot. We're not here to manage expectations. We're here to deliver what we set out to do. So after that, we just focused on what our main goal was, what our main priority was, and anything that came along the way was just sidelined. So that is how I learned to maybe deal with it, whenever I feel there's a lot of pressure.
Any time during this journey you felt like leaving all this and getting back to corporate world or running away?
No, I actually ran away from the corporate world to come into this.
I like that.
Yeah, but I would say ran away, but it was a conscious choice,
sure,
right?
Sure.
I think different things work for different people, and for me, this is what worked. But like in every scenario, I think there are challenges, there are ups and downs. You don't always feel the brightest. You don't always feel, like it's a sunny day. And because I had I did a few stints of running business before this. Mm-hmm. I kind of was prepared that, okay, this is not going to be a joyful uphill ride. A joyful ride all the time. So I have to brace myself for any challenging moments. But of course, no matter how much you brace yourself, you're never prepared for the challenges that
Right.
actually come your way.
Right.
So yeah, there are moments, but I think I've tried to be more calm about it now and try to think about it through a logical process. But that's something I'm still working on. I guess I'm human, and I let that factor come in consciously as well, because it's just impossible for you to feel happy all the time, and that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
But as long as you know what the main focus is, what the main goal is, I think it's okay to have a roller coaster of emotion.
As long as you're belted up, right? Right.
Yes, that's
Awesome. You obviously don't work in a glamorous field at all. You wake up every morning like all of us, and you work probably 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day, with a very different sect of the population than we do. Is there two parts to the question? Is there a spiritual power, or is there a higher power? Is there an inner power that keeps you going every day? Or if that's a no, then how do you actually keep yourself motivated and going every morning or every day?
higher power. That's a very interesting thought to this, but I think I often get asked this, that I'm not working in a glamorous field.
Right.
So how do I cope with that? I think there's just this underlying assumption that girls want to work in a glamorous field. Maybe there's this preset condition that, for a girl it might be easier, or she might want to work in a field that's XYZ, that's of a certain nature. But I think we all have different drives and motivations in life, and certainly the waste sector is anything but glamorous.
Yes.
It isn't. But and also the people that I work with are waste entrepreneurs. We call them our Khalisisi friends. They're anything but they're nothing like what you see that comes out of a corporate world or
Right.
that part of the world, right? So just to communicate with them, first of all, was a major challenge. Just to think on the same wavelength and to be a part of the community, to be accepted from them, was the biggest challenge for me. So then I, slowly, the more that I started to talk to them, I realized they're brilliant, smart entrepreneurs.
Right.
They've been doing their work for 50 years now, and they're earning a living. They're making a living out of trash.
Correct.
And that's commendable. That's commendable. That must take some sort of, Ivy League business strategy, for people to be that way and make an earning out of trash. So I obviously understood that. And then I more than, people say that maybe I changed the industry, but I say that these men changed my perception of the industry. So they taught me a lot. So for me, the process was always to learn from these veterans of the waste world, and how they think and how they navigate through the
Right.
system of this informal system. So for me, what motivates me every single day is just to, again, learn from them and make a point that these aren't just men that you can dismiss so easily. These are smart businessmen that have a lot of, ideas and skills that they can share with you and actually transform the industry. So a lot of strategic decisions that we make at Khalisisi, we do not make it without an advice from one of our waste entrepreneurs.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, so that's for us. And for me, again, like I said, the strength that comes, I don't know, it's not always a very powerful day, but whatever little strength I get is from the fact that I feel I'm very, very privileged, and I'm very, how would I put this, blessed to be in the position that I am. And if I cannot use this, use my position to do something good, then it's useless. So me and my husband, we actually have this weekly session where we look back at the week and then we plan what's next for the coming week. And we say, did we really, were we really able to, give something back to the society that people could later be?
Very nice. Let's before I get to the personal side of Aayushi, one more question. Specifically for people in Nepal, Aayushi, as a society, what can they do more in supporting your initiative? And when they listen to your podcast, I want you to use this as a medium to tell them.
Again, Mr. Vengi, thank you for the medium to connect with everyone. But I think for people, it is just to be aware of what their potential is, not just related to to our company at Khalisisi or to waste management in general, but in general, what is it that they can do at their individual level and not expect the government or some other private body or from a non-government body to take care of the problem. So to take up that initiative is very important. And through Khalisisi, if they can do something as simple as get paid for their waste, so just set the waste apart and then get paid for the waste and recycle, because that is where recycling really starts, and they can save at least 70% of what goes into the landfill and bring it back into the economy. And then you become a recycler. You don't have to open up $1 billion waste to energy plant to become a recycler. All you need to do is just spare 5 minutes of your time, separate your waste and give it to one of our Khalisisi friends. That way you're making sure that their livelihoods are you're investing in their livelihoods, you're getting paid, you're encouraging the future generation to be recyclers at their own level, and doing a good for the world by simply getting paid for your trash.
Awesome. I don't know whether you're already doing it, but if I were in Nepal, I would put you on the guest faculty list of every college or every institution. You need to go out there and speak to students. I don't know whether you do it.
I guess no. I think, Mr. Venki, no, that's a very suggestion. But I feel like there's a lot of technical knowledge around this concept of waste and waste management, but there's little when it comes to action. So what we're essentially trying to do is just encourage people to act. We don't want people talking about the theories of landfills or the formulas for carbon monoxide or nothing of that. We're just asking people to behave a little more consciously and take the responsibility of recycling or waste management at their own level. Yeah.
I'm just visualizing, and I'm going to put you back on this because I really think you should do this. I'm just visualizing you walk into an institution. There are 200, forget 500 and 1,000, 200 kids who are probably in their teens and they understand what you speak. Imagine just telling them that they must be responsible citizens, and this is how they can contribute to the joint goal of zero waste Nepal. I think even if you get a 10% conversion there, you will have 500,000 Khalisisi unpaid agents running all over the place trying to keep Nepal a great city and a great country for people to visit. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and unfortunately I don't live there and I don't own a college, but I think you should be brought to the fore and let me see how I can do that.
But it's a funny thing you brought it up because we had this initiative called Safa Generation. Safa means clean.
Yeah.
So we have Safa Generation. So where we actually prefer to work with school kids, not just college. Yeah, and we have a few of our school ambassadors, we call them Safa Generation ambassadors.
Excellent.
Who are kids just in their early teens, and they're so passionate about the environment.
Yes.
And we take them as role models for, and I think it's easier to work with kids who still have a lot of faith in the world. And they think that, yes, it can be changed for good.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Adults can be a pain, I promise you that. So I'm glad you're doing that, and you must do it. It is so important. We all had a subject, I don't know whether you guys had it, called community living in school. I don't know what you call it in Nepal. We studied and we were told to be good civic citizens. We were told to be good people, and then you grew up and you forgot what you studied, and then you live in plush apartments and you have kids throwing chocolate wrappers all over the place, and then you wonder what happened to the education, right? So, and I'm saying you are an ambassador of zero waste in Nepal, and you literally should be seen out there or put out a slogan every month or every week for these kids. So please do that. I know it's very difficult. You have a lot of constraints on your time, but I think you really should. Maybe I hope that like it happened to you in the Forbes, somebody nominates your name to one of the schools or colleges and gets you there. Let's hope for the best. To your personal side now a little bit, your inspiration or role model, who has it been?
Not one single person actually. For me, at work, it's mostly it's our Khalisisi friends.
Great.
I see them working extremely hard every single day, and saving every little penny that they make for their family, for their kids at home, who they dream of being well educated and going off to colleges. So they're working really hard. So the hard work, the drive to work harder, I think maybe comes from them. But otherwise, whatever stories that I like to read a lot of biographies. So I try to take up incidents from different people's lives where, they were able to make a very hard decision and stick with it, and because of the vision they had. So a lot of it comes from a lot of different places, but also from my own family, my mother-in-law, my husband, who, we don't come from a business background, but he started an e-commerce revolution on his own in the country. So at a time when internet penetration was below 30%, so how he had to technically overcome that. So I take a lot of technical inspiration from him, and I take a lot of leadership inspiration from my mother-in-law, who was widowed at a very young age with 3 sons. So she raised them all on her own, despite being offered to be married again at a lot of compromising situations and all of that. But she overcame all of that, and now she works with over almost 10 million. Around the world. I think it would be over 5 million single women across the country.
Really?
Yeah. She has an office in every district, and she's obviously she's a rock star on her own. But to go through that emotional roller coaster and still be able to change people's lives as a woman, I think she's done an incredible job. So yeah.
Wow. So are you saying she should be the next guest on my podcast?
Lucky me, yes. That was a subtle.
Phenomenal. You're surrounded by heroes. So you're a hero family.
Blessed, yeah, blessed.
Yeah, I guess. Success. Can you define success? So 2 parts to this question. Can you define success for us?
I haven't really given it much of a thought, but success, I think, is, I don't know, at the end of the day, when you feel like you've given your best despite the circumstance, when you know that you were performing at your full capacity and you gave it all, I think that is a very satisfying feeling, and that feeling of satisfaction is very rare, to be honest. You think that it sounds easy to be hardworking and to give it all and to work at a full capacity, but it's not actually. To focus and to work hard is actually a very difficult thing to do. And if you have done that, and if you know that you gave it your best despite the outcome, I think that for me is I wouldn't say call it a success, but I think that is what builds you up for success. I feel like success is more of state of mind or habit kind of a thing than an outcome. It's more about the journey. I don't feel like it's a...
And what does it mean to you now that you've done
So to me, I definitely feel like there's so much more that we still have to do, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for us, and we're grateful that we've got the kind of momentum and that we have. But for Khaleesi CC specifically, I think it would be to build Nepal as one of the world's top 20 recycling nations for us, for at Khalisisi.
Wow.
That's our vision. But for success, even if we achieve that, I don't think success would end there, because it's like I said, I don't think it's a point in your life. Success is a journey, and it's different things that build up to your vision. So for me, having a vision and actually working towards that vision, being able to work towards that vision is success for me, I guess.
Do you believe in hobbies?
Hobbies? Do I believe
only Khalisisi.
No, I think I feel like you can have fun and run a business. Running a business and having fun aren't two mutually exclusive things. You can do both at the same time, as long as you what you're doing is actually what you really want to do. So you don't really have to go cross that work line and find something else that satisfies you. So for me, at least.
Brilliant. One of the endeavors of my podcast really is to, other than influencing or convincing people like you to come on board, it's also about using this medium to try and see if people across the globe, because this podcast goes to a lot of places, there are so many of us who actually want to reach out and help, either monetarily or otherwise. And a lot of times we are unable to do it because, one, we don't know how to do it, and two is nobody's come and told us. So would you like to probably use the next few minutes to tell us how can we reach out to you or to your movement and help you contribute monetarily or otherwise? Is there a website? Is there a link, etc.?
So again, we're always looking to collaborate. We're always looking for partners to advance our work at Khalisisi. So we have a website. It's khalisisi.com. And we are very active on our social handles as well, Instagram, Facebook. So for us, it's always about not shying away from the fact that we work in the waste industry. It's about inviting more players into the industry, because we feel like the more partnerships we have, the more collaborations we have, the better it is for the entire ecosystem and for all the players along the value chain. So at Khalisisi, we're looking for partners, whether it be the government, who is trying to establish some sort of project with us, or it be private companies that are trying to work on their CSR models, or it be educational institutions that are trying to provide their children with some sort of exposure early on into the world of entrepreneurship or waste management. So we can always collaborate as long as we have the same kind of values and vision.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Before we come to the last part of our program, so before I wind down, I want to do a rapid fire with you, so you can tell me what comes to your mind when I ask you things. Right? You ready for it?
All right. Okay. Yes, I am. I guess.
Good. So what do the following mean to you, Aayushi? Waste.
Waste is a resource.
Wow. The first person I'm hearing say that. Recycling?
Something that can start with you, not just big plants in some remote area.
Lakshman Rekha?
Lakshman Rekha is something that is meant to be explored and broken out of.
Wow. Beautiful. Khaleesi CC is?
Platform where you can get paid for your waste and save the environment.
Okay. Change is?
Change is inevitable.
Aayushi would like to be remembered as?
Aayushi would like to be remembered as someone who tried to do something about a certain problem. Nothing glamorous, I know.
That's very humble of you. Is there I wouldn't say message and burden you with it, but is there something you would like to communicate or share with the listeners, especially for a lot of young kids, girl or boy, doesn't matter, out there, who probably want to do something and have the brain and have the wherewith or the initiative, but don't know how to start or what to do? Is there something you would like to tell them, Aayushi?
Drawing in from my own experience, I'd say just go for it and try. You'll never know unless you give it a shot, because it's human nature to overthink about a certain idea and kill it, nib it in the bud before it's even out in the business plan. So especially when you're trying to work on something that's unconventional and that's new and that's never been worked on before, you'll never get that kind of validation or resource or reference from anybody else, even support for that matter. So all you have is you. So you just work on it, give yourself a few months of time, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least you tried. You can sleep in peace saying that, oh, at least I tried. So I'll just go for it. And find a team if you can.
Yeah. Awesome. On that inspiring note, Aayushi, I want to thank you for taking time off on a Sunday. And I know that's the only day you get to rest. And agreeing to my podcast. I really am delighted that you agreed, and the conversations I've had with you even before the podcast have really left me inspired. I'm glad you are an angel to all the waste entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you are going to change their tomorrows, if I may. More power to you, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Venki. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.